Ever worried someone might rip off your most valuable content in your coaching business? If so, stay tuned to this video. We're going to talk about whether the risk of that happening is actually high and the free, practical, and paid ways that you can use to protect the best content you have in your coaching business from copycats and ripoffs. As always, be sure to like and subscribe because we are in the middle of our series all about protecting your course content, your coaching methods, and your most important names and content in your coaching business. As a person who creates content myself, I know deeply that feeling of being so excited to put your best work in the world, whether that's through recorded video or audio or written works that you know your audience can be hugely helped by. But after being a lawyer for coaches since 2015, I also know the flip side of that, which is the very real fear that an unscrupulous person might come along and start reteaching your material, sharing it with others, or just otherwise making unauthorized use of it, and even worse, taking credit for it as their own. Unfortunately, I have seen this happen, but in this video, I'm going to tell you the most likely sources of those problematic people, as well as the free, practical, and paid ways that you can use to kind of deter copycats to begin with, but also put you in the driver's seat when it comes to stopping them. So if you've been around here for a while, you may have caught my protecting names video. And in that video, I told you when it comes to names that if you're the first person to use it, and especially the first person to register it with the trademark office, that anyone who comes next will automatically be assumed to be infringing. They should have known about you. They should have gone out and looked for you. But the weird thing about content is it's not the same. Theoretically, under the eyes of the law, two people could come up with the identical program materials at completely separate times in completely different parts of the world without ever having come across each other. But if you can show that the later user of the same or similar content did in fact see yours first, you are in a much better position to show that yes, this person has infringed on you. The reality is most infringers are not super high sophisticated people. Instead, they're more on the innocent end of the spectrum where they kind of didn't know better. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that after you put your blood, sweat, and tears into gaining the experience you need to be able to do the work of putting your content together, that probably doesn't make you feel all that much better what their motivations were. But the reason I want to talk to you about this innocent infringement and not knowing better is because it's the bulk of the infringement, but it's also the easiest to stop. So our first free and practical tip about protecting your content is to let people know that it is proprietary and protected. So an easy way to do this is when they join your program, have a welcome video, show them around the membership site, explain to them how the program works, and let them know you're so excited to welcome them into this program for their personal use in their own business or, whatever type of work that you do. But you have avenues available to them if they desire that they want to reteach it or they want to give other people access to it. Simply let them know in conversational language what they can and cannot do with your material. Not only does this help them understand what they can do with it, hopefully abide by it, but also has an open conversation happening about what your expectations are and the fact that there are ways to go about either reteaching it or selling it. I'm going to come back to that point at the end in case you're like, I don't want to do those things, but just keep that in mind. All right, as you know, I really like to have practical steps that you take in your business that also have a good business benefit for you. And I can assure you that this one will surprise you because it'll give you some additional revenue streams potentially. Now, moving on to practical steps that you can take. I said earlier that you want to be able to show who has seen your content in case you later find them out there selling it or sharing it or copying it. One really easy way to do that is to use a software provider that shows when people logged in and even better, what they logged into. Now, if you're using a system like Kajabi, for example, that I'm using, I cannot see the exact content that they looked at, but I do have the ability to see what percentage of the course they went through. So that could be a good substitute and a practical benefit. If you are not delivering inside of a membership site, this tip may not apply as well to you, but a workaround would be if you're doing calls, whether that's one-on-one or a group, you can use a recording software that also keeps a transcript. So as you're verbalizing your methodologies, your concepts and principles, you would be able to pull those from the transcript and also show that this person attended the call on X date and that's when they most likely saw it. So that again is a little bit of an extra step to take, but practically speaking, you can build these into your business systems so that it's always collecting this data that you and your lawyer would need to be able to prove that someone is in fact infringing on you. Now, if you get to the point where someone just won't stop copying you, or they claim that, what you've put out in the world isn't protectable, you will need to decide to take further legal action. And that's where your paid protections come in. So the main paid protection is copyright registration with the US Copyright Office. And this is actually not as difficult as it sounds and definitely much easier than registering a trademark for a name. You will submit the work as well as your authorship and the name and the date that you published it, and it's a very low filing fee, usually in the neighborhood of about $65, contrast to $350 for your trademark. And in order to be able to get a cease and desist order from a court in the US, you do have to have that copyright registration number. As your business grows, I highly recommend that on a quarterly or other periodic basis that you are submitting your work for copyright registration on a regular basis as your budget will allow. Because if you have to do it in advance of filing a lawsuit, you will need to pay upwards of $750 in emergency filing fees. So it takes about otherwise a month or more to get your copyright registration. We'll do it much faster if you pay that expedited fee because you're trying to file a lawsuit. Now, there are many other ways that you can protect your content, but having the conversation to snuff out most of the innocent infringement goes a very long way. There are other practical things you can do, like just making it difficult for a copycat so they'll move on, like disabling right click, having fillable workbooks instead of your content just in written material that matches the videos, so they actually have to do the work and watch the videos and fill in the workbooks and recreate it. For the people who are trying to copy as just a quick way to get ahead, that will also deter that level of less innocent and more intentional infringer. My favorite tip though is on your sales pages right below the buy now button, let people know you're buying for personal use and contact us if you determine that you want to sell or share or otherwise make use of this content that isn't in this express license. Now, as promised at the end of this video, I told you that I would tell you what my tip for you is if you really don't want to let other people teach your material. First, I want you to catch the method video because I think that will maybe change your mind about the importance of having a course even earlier on in your coaching career to allow you opportunities for an alternative, ethical way to scale by allowing other people to teach your material. But if you're not in the mood to do that just yet, you can still provide an affiliate program that allows other people to sell your program for money without them just ripping it off and reteaching themselves, which waters down your authority in the marketplace as the source of that material and also gives you no monetary gain for using your material. Unfortunately, in the modern day, every coach will get ripped off to a certain extent. And so I like to have at least an affiliate program so that perhaps you can monetize some of it. And if you want to get a little bit more sophisticated, you can create a licensing program. This would allow people just the opportunity to use your tools and written materials and potentially videos if it makes sense in your space for a fee without you expressly certifying them or giving them a designation that they're authorized to teach your method. I have many more videos coming about that particular model, but if you're curious, put a note in the comments and I'll send you a link to Certifications Made Simple, which is a teeny tiny $10 book that my colleague Amanda Goldman-Petrie and I wrote all about the things you may not have thought about certification and licensing programs to help monetize potential infringement. So it will open your eyes. All right, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe so that the world knows. And stay tuned because we are working our way through our series all about course content and protecting your names, your methods, and your program materials.